Sending a tweet.
Yep, you're up. Say hi to people.
I will do that in a moment. You can't actually hear who I'm talking to, can they?
They might be able to hear you, but the game not so much. This is the issues we're having.
Okay, hello everyone. Sorry I'm late. As always, it seems to be typical for this stream. I've been having some difficulty with audio. It should now be resolved, but please let me know if I'm just coming through okay, sounds okay, you can see everything okay. Just generally assuage my nervousness, because this is the first time I've ever done a solo stream, and I'm definitely used to having other people on this couch with me. Just gonna wait till someone says something in chat, make sure I'm not like completely talking to myself. Thank you. Okay, just gonna wait until someone lets me know if you can hear me or not. So if you're in there, if you're listening, please let me know. Is audio coming through okay? Maybe there's just something wrong with the chat over here. Is stuff showing up?
Yeah, stuff's showing up.
Okay, sorry. I'm actually having trouble with my chat display. Give me a moment. That's a new one. Haven't had that happen before.
It's showing an old one from ages ago.
Oh, okay.
You can start talking about what you're going to be showing while I get your chat up.
Sure. Are they saying like the audio's fine?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't see you right now. I'll be able to see you in a moment, but I'm going to be streaming Final Fantasy XIII, which is a game that I really like. It was a big influence on the development of Getting the Car Loser, and I sort of want to just show off some of the things I like about it, talk about some of the design decisions that they made that I've been just, shamelessly ripping off. As well, I will be just talking a little bit about a lot of the story stuff, because I think that's not necessarily as big an influence, but I think it's really good. So I will be just letting the cutscenes roll, won't be talking over them, and I think it's going to be a bit of a slow start, because this game sort of has a very slow opening. I'll talk about that a bit more later, but the battle system will be building up over time, and I'll sort of be discussing what's going into that. Any luck with the chat?
It's doing the thing where it thinks it's a phone.
But it's not a phone, it's a tablet.
I think maybe it's up. Let me...
Sorry, please just bear with me one more moment. Sorry, I have Miguel off camera just fiddling with the chat device to hopefully figure out what's going on here.
We're so busy fixing audio that we didn't think to check.
Didn't even realize.
I'm gonna
Title's rebooting the tablet, and I don't have it on this, do I? I totally don't.
The tablet's a bit slow to reboot, so you might want to just start in.
Okay, well, I'm going to start the game, and hopefully sometime very soon I'll be able to see what you're saying.
Someone's suggesting you just pretend to react to what's in the chat. Troll says, last time I played this game I was ridiculously deep in the closet, so I look forward to getting some fresh perspective. Lol, 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 lol. Keep you up to date till I get this up.
The 13 days after we awoke were the beginning of the end.
You serious?
Be quiet.
Best of luck. She did it! Hands high! Freeze! You alright? I'm not LSE. So far, so good. They all want to fight.
Good for them. Give me that.
Okay, wonderful. I can see you all now. Hello, friends.
Audio's good. I've got it on my phone.
Okay, and here we have control. I do not need to... Actually, sure, let's show the tutorial. Yeah, so right at the start, it's trying to teach a lot of mechanics. The combat eventually gets very complex, and I think right now they're showing off that you're not, you know, hitting buttons in real time. You are, or like even pressing menus in real time like a classic Final Fantasy battle. Instead, you're just queuing up commands and really, you're just supposed to, like, hit auto.
Not so tough now, huh? Hey, that wasn't like a challenge now, all right? Hey!
I think the comment Final Fantasy Raid Manager Edition really does, like, summarize what this battle system is about. It's, like, focusing on the really big picture stuff and, like, the tactical breakdown of what's in your party.
This thing won't give up.
I will say one of the weirder things is the fact that you control one character and the others are on auto, but like in practice the way you control that one character is by putting them in auto. It's like just a very weirdly balanced, like not in terms of game balance, just in terms of like the feel of it, because you're sort of like, you're not really directly embodying Lightning in these fights. You're just telling her, do this automatically. I'm personally playing this game on PC, and it's runs really well on that. It's like on Steam regularly in the sales.
Oh goodness. Woo. We did it. Hey. Aren't you supposed to protect civilians, soldier? I mean, you are Sanctum, aren't you? What are you doing trying to stop the purge? Why don't you tell me that?
I was a soldier.
Hey, where do you think you're going? Man. Chocobo, we just can't catch a break, can we? Yeah, that's a good question. Oh well. Better follow up. I'm getting too old for this.
So the way the battle system and the auto battle works is that there's it has okay, we just have a tutorial for the most useless thing in the game. This is the data log. It's like a codex in a BioWare game. Just like in a BioWare game, you should ignore it. Never look at that
Sure we can
ever.
get through here?
You don't care about the lore. anything that's actually important, it will tell you in game. I think honestly, I don't know. I've seen like a lot of people doing like retrospectives saying that like that you get like the really interesting stuff by looking at the lore, and I don't think that's, or that people were like confused by because they weren't looking at that, and I don't think that's the case. I think you should always ignore the codex. Okay, so the way that this works is that there's that little bar that's filling up, and that's saying that's when you're ready to attack. When you hit auto battle, it puts stuff in the queue, and then when that bar fills up, it just executes everything in the queue consecutively. So you have a little bit of time in between to like think about what sorts of things you're going to be putting in, but in practice, what you actually do is just hit auto.
Are we leaving its toys out now?
Yeah, lore is absolutely for nerds. I don't believe in it, and I don't respect it. So there's no like picking the option in time. If the bar fills up and you haven't hit anything, it'll just wait for you to keep going. Your allies will attack because they're not on that. Yeah, like I'm just sitting here at full bar, but when I hit auto attack, she'll go immediately. Here's the thing, the characters in this game are, I really like them a lot. I like them so much that I feel like they actually do in fact, you know, carry 3 entire games. They made 2 sequels to this. I feel like Lightning Returns just goes like completely all out with everyone having, you know, complete breakdowns in the apocalypse, but like they're really good right from the start. The world, I hate the phrase world building, but like the world that this takes place in is kind of low-key incredible. Just like some really good, weird, big science fiction concepts.
Taking on trained soldiers?
Better to die than get sent to Pulse. It's hell for the Brimstone.
Yeah, well, hell's not sounding too bad. Because this place ain't exactly paradise.
Domesticated peacekeepers. Nothing to worry about.
Maybe not for a soldier girl, but I'm trying to say, hey!
Also, the phrase domesticated peacekeepers is just incredible.
Gotta fight it.
Sorry, I gotta change the axis. This is, I fucked up in the settings. Yeah, the camera's mostly fine, but slightly bothersome. It does have a little bit of trouble with some bits.
Yeah, you must be real nice from up there.
Too clever for its own good is a good way to describe it. It's really trying to adjust around these corridors, and
Preemptive strike.
Rebels. So much for the element of surprise. I owe ya.
I'm not sure what this microphone is. It might be you, it might not, but you are getting sound again.
okay. Yeah, please let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, excellent.
I think it's a bit echoey.
Do we turn back?
There's no time.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Quiet.
I'm not sure what the other mic hooked in here is. Let me try some other things.
Okay.
Let go.
The hell no! You're the only way out of here!
Yeah, I can hear myself really loud also.
That might get us across.
And we're getting echoes now.
Right?
Looks that way.
Is it just like too much game?
No, I don't think so.
Right. Leave this to me.
I'm gonna try something. Try talking some.
Okay, sure. I'm talking some. Is it coming up still? If so, that'd be pretty weird.
We're hooked into something other than your mic. I don't know what
Okay.
mic that thing is.
I was wondering if it was something like that.
Okay, let me try some other things.
Sorry, we were using the wrong mic. Please bear with us.
I just don't know what something went wrong. You were fine.
That's really weird.
Talk a bit.
Okay, sure. Is it coming through now? Is... Are you seeing anything?
It is talk with this unplugged.
Okay, sure. I'm talking with, you shouldn't be able to hear anything right now because that microphone is totally unplugged. Sorry, by the way, right now I'm talking for Miguel's benefit, who is trying to troubleshoot some of the audio issues that are happening. Well, that's a problem then.
Yeah, we're still hearing with this unplugged. They can hear me also because this audio, wherever
Yeah.
this microphone is hidden in this room, it's close to me.
What microphone even is that? Is that like the cameras, maybe?
Maybe there's a mic in the computer I don't know about.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm more clear, so it's gotta be somewhat
Some
closer to me.
mysterious hidden microphone instead of the actual one that's clipped to.
Yeah, okay.
This is not our lucky day.
Deportees, are we? Weapons down. I'd hate for this to turn ugly.
Turn ugly?
He wants to kill us without a fight.
Time's up!
Going back to the one that was originally set to.
Okay.
And see if that's working again. If this works, I've got no idea what happened.
Huh. Well, let's see if this,
Oh, yeah.
it's working. Okay, well, that's very mysterious. Okay, well, I'm glad you can hear me. This tutorial explaining how what I think of as the stagger meter, but was actually referred to in-game as the chain gauge, is kind of weird. It's just like some... I've been thinking a lot about how do you phrase, like, explaining this mechanic. This is the core of what I took from Final Fantasy XIII and put in Get in the Car. I'll show you some other stuff. There's some other aspects as well, but this is like the really big one, showing that you fill this bar and it staggers the enemy and puts them into a special state. Sorry, just gonna adjust my microphone position. Hopefully that'll help. But you can see what's happening here is that you're doing attacks and it shows like like the first number it shows is like what the damage started off as, and then it goes up to show like what damage you're actually doing, which is like I think a really good way to convey that like you're doing more damage.
So, soldier. What's your angle?
Yeah, shoutouts to Miguel for figuring out what our audio issues were.
What? Classified military info? Huh? What's the matter? You quit, didn't you? You think I'm gonna go out there and just tell everybody your secrets?
fal'Cie. My angle. I'm after the fal'Cie. Still happy you tagged along.
Didn't have a choice.
Citizens, I would like to thank our brave false pioneers and express our best wishes for a successful relocation. Your noble and selfless sacrifice ensures the continued safety and peace of our society. Were it not for this remarkable gesture, every resident of Cocoon, your family, your friends, your neighbors, would be exposed to the dangers of the world below. By choosing to leave Cocoon and participating in this migration,
Migration? More like extermination.
Huge. You stay here.
So sorry. I didn't mean to.
These people need heroes. Here. You keep your cool, and they will too. You got it?
Got it.
What's our motto?
The army's no match for Nora.
That a boy.
I feel like the big thing that people don't like, make enough of a big deal about is that Snow is actually really cute. It's just like a really endearing amount of dorky, so cool bullshit. I kind of love him, actually.
Just gonna die anyway.
taking a dirt nap, you can save them all.
No, it's even worse.
No dirt naps today. We're all in this together. Our enemy's the Cocoon Sanctum. Their dreaded PSICOM, no less.
What's to dread? PSICOM's nothing but a whole bunch of bluster and bullying. They've got nothing on Nora.
Well, we are the heroes after all.
Let's prove it! Sanctum's gonna pay for this. Nothing to worry about!
In chat, we have Isaac, the artist, pointing out that Valentin in Get in the Car has some very similar energy to Snow. He's not written that way, but definitely like
Gotta clear a path out of here.
they're definitely like adjacent on, you know, the himbo spectrum, which like the very like heroic part of the himbo spectrum. I think the big thing about like, because this game is so long and because like there's multiple sequels, is that like the characters go through arcs and then sort of like
There are soldiers everywhere.
get to fall apart and then like have to deal with that again.
Yo, boss. What's the plan? Charge in, guns blazing.
Hey, that's not a plan.
Real heroes don't need plans.
Oh yeah, it's true. In the field of view, Snow doesn't have the back patch at all. Because, right, it's based off his equipped weapon, which is, I think, a really good way to convey that someone who has fights with their fists is, like, still changing their weapon. Look, when you're the hero, you only need your fists.
Same plan as always. Hit him hard and hit him again.
But I do think like part of the thing is that right now, at this point in the game, it hasn't really like sold you on what's actually really compelling about this battle. Like right now, it really feels like you're just doing like the more advanced version of, you know, the Super Nintendo's Final Fantasy thing of just like hitting A a bunch, but like they've automated hitting A. And, you know, they're slowly metering out the mechanics, but like until it all comes together, it's not like it doesn't actually show you like what's fun about it. So like right now, this is still, I know how it gets more interesting, but I think if you go in like knowing nothing about this game and like not being willing to, you know, give it like, I think it's like an hour until you get like your paradigms, maybe even longer. And I don't know. I think part of that is just like you're doing a 50-hour game, you have a lot of stuff to set up. It's the same problem that like the beginning of every story-heavy game has. You have so much to explain.
You all okay? careful with those. Don't worry. No one's moving to Pulse today. We'll clear you a path out of here, so be ready
Wait!
to...
Let me fight with you! You can't expect us to just sit here!
Can't help.
Yep. Please, let us help!
Okay then. Volunteers front and center.
Here, take this one. Here you go. Oh, and one for you.
Count me in.
Here's yours. Take care now. Mom? Don't worry. Huh?
So I just...
Hold it steady.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yep, nice.
Can you show me again?
You got it.
That's how it works.
You sure?
Yeah. Moms are tough.
Moms are tough. Shout out to the best line read in all of Final Fantasy.
Last one, boss.
All right, last one. Somebody take it. Push comes to shove. Keep him safe.
First impression of snow? All told.
All right, lay low and you'll be fine. We'll clear out the area. We're going home together!
Come on! Everybody up!
Right. New recruits, on me!
Come on.
Time to go, kiddo.
We're not losing to SciComm, you hear me?
This'll be a piece of cake.
Stay sharp. Don't want to make their job any easier.
Sorry, boss.
You see that?
People in chat are saying that these cutscenes were actually like rendered twice in English and Japanese just to get the lip sync right, which is kind of incredible.
Bro, back us up.
Oh, these enemies are definitely being killed. We are, like, we're murking a lot of enemy soldiers right now.
All right, let's shake things up a little.
Move the land beta force! Put down the resistance!
Yeah, Snow is just punching these people into nothing.
Heroes don't run from fights.
We fight and
survive.
I'm also just noticing that the guest party members, it's not showing their hit points at all. Like, it really wants you to not pay attention to these.
No kidding. Stay down.
I told you, didn't I? Moms are tough.
Say it with me, everyone. Moms are tough.
Get him home. Please.
Hold on!
Come on! We have to move!
Right. It's an out-and-out massacre. Those people won't even live long enough to die on Pulse.
That was the idea.
What?
Sanctum logic. They conjured up the purge to eliminate a threat. I mean, why carry the danger all the way to Pulse? Why not just stamp it out here?
Oh, thanks for joining.
Masquerading as exile. That's all the purge ever was.
Relocation to Pulse. How does the government get away with pulling crap like that? And you knew this was gonna happen?
The Purge was SciComm. Private Sanctum troops, not the Guardian Corps.
SciComm, Guardian Corps. Soldiers are soldiers, aren't they? Pulse, fal'Cie, and their fal'Cie are enemies of the state. Tell a soldier to kill an enemy, and you really think it's gonna matter what uniform he's wearing?
Might have mattered to that one. Couldn't shoot. Got himself shot instead.
How about you? Hmm? I want to say shoot, you pull the trigger? Fine. Forget I asked.
Wait. What?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that this intro really struggles with is that it, wants to show you what's going on in this world. It wants to, shit. Might have just autopiloted into disaster there. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna die here. Probably. Wait, shit, I totally just Phoenix down. I'm not thinking.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm extremely not used to streaming on my own. I'm used to there being other people on the couch, so definitely different when I also need to focus on what's going on.
What's that? Huh?
Attention, Purge deportees. Attention, Purge deportees. Put down your weapons and surrender immediately. Your removal is the will of the people of Cocoon. Should you attempt to flee, the Sanctum will employ every resource necessary to bring you to justice. This land is no longer your home. Cease hostilities and surrender at once.
Sarah!
Just what you were looking for.
Yeah. Right in there.
The Pulse fal'Cie.
Don't worry. We'll be okay. Chia! It's too much, isn't it? Face it later. Ciao!
Hey, wait!
You said it made you happy when I smiled, didn't you? But really, I was afraid. I was always afraid.
how do you figure that post fal'Cie is different from the sanctums? All things being equal, I'd just as soon keep one.
Time to jump.
Yeah. Hey, 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 hang on! What the? Hey! Damn. She can do it, so can we.
Love Ghost in the Shell.
Come on, come on!
What about the others? They didn't die. They couldn't have died.
Of course not.
Hey, get a grip, man! What's wrong with you?
Get him home. Get who home?
Toss me that.
Catch. What are you doing?
So what are you afraid of, huh? You're supposed to be the hero. She's waiting there, ain't she? Your lovely bride-to-be? Isn't it about time you picked her up?
Yeah. There's our ride.
Now you're talking.
So something I was meaning to say about 10 minutes of cutscene ago is that I think you're not supposed to be perfectly following along. Like, the events that it's showing are actually pretty straightforward, and like it's pretty clear in retrospect what's going on here, but I think you're just supposed to be like wafting in. It's throwing a lot of stuff at you. So far we haven't really hit like any of the really important bits. And like, I think it really just wants you to first like really feel the chaos of what, you know, this God, I don't even know how to describe this, you know, like the purge that's occurring right now. Like, we don't really ever get much of a sense of what it's like to actually live inside Cocoon. It gives you a little bit of that. But I think, like, that's one of their goals, is showing the terror in this bit. Which is why I think, like, it works that it's very much focusing on, you know, just throwing a lot at you and hoping you get the emotional core. Part of it's also like, when you're making a 50-hour game, it has different narrative economies than I'm personally used to.
Don't go rushing in on your own.
And as people in chat have pointed out, the sequels, Final Fantasy 13-2, which I think is a kind of a rough game, it's a bit of a mess, and as well as Lightning Returns, are definitely a lot punchier in introducing their concepts. They sort of just directly say it. But that's also, they're expecting you to come off of 50 hours of this.
That's a sad sound. Where's the soul? Hey, Godot.
Yeah?
If you don't know who you gotta save, you just protect them all, right?
Something on your mind? You got plenty of time for thinking on the way, hero.
Yeah.
Ready! Go! Hey! It's us! It's us! Don't shoot!
Snow!
Since when do you care about kids?
Favor for a friend.
Okay.
Hey, Snow! You made it!
Hey, yo. So,
Hey.
you really managed to use that thing?
I think I'm done.
You're done when we are.
Ow, what's it?
That's the one.
Didn't you have something to tell him?
Yeah,
All right then.
but
I'll go with you.
what?
You have no idea what it was like. Oh,
Everyone safe?
the army's no match for Nora.
I meant the kids.
All accounted for.
Okay. Let's keep it that way, all right? I'll swing by the vestige. Keep the kids out of trouble.
You got it. Say hi to the missus for me. You go skirt chasing, I take care of the kids. Some husband.
Dinner's on me.
Better be home cooking.
When's the wedding, lover boy?
Well, don't worry, none of you are invited.
We're still going.
Hey, you serious?
What about me?
Catch you later.
Man, I keep forgetting how good the Nora interactions are with each other. They're just... love them. Okay, pardon me. I will be right back in just a minute.
okay?
I want to tell him. It's just that...
Say, you know how to fly this?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. In you go. That way.
No.
Huh?
If we go in there, that thing could... It could make us fal'Cie. This is... I don't think I can...
You can do it.
What are you two doing?
Here we go!
It's like the echo's gone. I fixed it.
Sorry. I forgot to turn my mic back on. It's okay. I didn't say anything that mattered.
Get back here! You hear me? Hey!
The pulse fal'Cie. It held our future. And our fate.
People are sharing their headcanons in chat, and they're all correct. Just absolutely correct reads.
And the echo is back.
Where is the... Oops. Well then... Guess it's just us.
What did you expect? Even soldiers know not to go near the fal'Cie. You become a fal'Cie, and you're finished.
What do you mean, finished?
Haven't you heard, Miss...
Vanille.
Huh?
My name. And yours?
Hope. Thank you. What were we thinking?
Well, since we're here, let's look around. Oh, check this out.
Hey! Vanille, where are you?
Well,
That's...
I feel like all the design in this game is great, but especially the Fanil's battle antlers. I don't really understand how they work, but they're beautiful and perfect, and I love them.
okay. Back to exploring.
Better stay close.
She's just a simple country girl who loves getting into trouble with her battle antlers.
Are you sure this is the right way?
Maybe not the best walk cycle. Totally normal way to walk. High tensile wires. Well, that explains everything then.
I thought this place was supposed to be empty.
I also definitely love the weird enemies in this game. Well, we'll see more of them.
What's wrong with her? Please don't go looking for trouble.
Definitely getting a little bit of that camera action. So later in the series, they get really into the preemptive strikes and the preemptive actions on enemies, but in this, it's a little. I feel like most RPGs from this era were flirting with that, and in nearly all of them, it's just a little bit janky. Yeah, I'm gonna be streaming a bunch of this. I'm not sure how far I'll go or like how long it's gonna take. But I sort of want to, like, in the weeks leading up to getting the car coming out, want to go through and I'll definitely finish it. It just may take a bit. Definitely like the all-time good, like really good preemptive strike mechanic is Persona 5's. Like, people in chat are saying Persona 3 started that, but like, man, it just feels really, really good with the like sort of fake cover stealth system that P5's got going on. And like, I think it honestly, it doesn't really matter like how it feels mechanically nearly so much as is there some good juice on the actual like animation when it happens. Because it just sets the tone.
Not so much.
You really don't get it.
Pulse, fal'Cie, and fal'Cie are bad news. That's why Cocoon kicked them out. Live too close to the fal'Cie, one-way ticket to Pulse. That's the purge in a nutshell.
If they catch us here, they'll purge us too. And
What's
then...
your problem?
What's my... Pulse is hell on Earth.
We'll be okay. Calm down.
Get off me.
Sarah? Huh? Can you hear me? Where are you?
Miguel's saying he may break audio in an attempt to fix audio, so please bear with me. Please bear with something. Please bear.
Don't worry, Sarah. Your hero is on his way. Wonder what that's for.
Logical in chat saying a good feeling preemptive strike is a video game equivalent of I promise to never stop going in. True, correct, extreme.
Okay, I can create a really big echo, so what I'm doing is not useless.
Miguel is helping, I think. Yeah, please don't worry too much about the world building behind Pulse's hell on. Just. What is with these stairs? Grand Pulse, aka Earth on Earth.
Bring it on!
It's definitely just a weird decision to give you a battle with, like, only one person in it, which, like, doesn't convey anything about this game's battle system at all. Like, none of what makes it interesting comes from just a single person. The story setup was somehow better served by having Snow alone here.
Just hold on, Sarah.
Still won't budge? I think the door is winning.
Why didn't I listen?
Beg your pardon?
It was me. This is my fault.
Beg your pardon?
Cover your ears.
Huh? Oh, blast charge? Oh, wait, hold on. All right, hold. All right, go for it! Make it happen!
I'm so sorry. Please let me in. Please?
Hey! What? How'd you open it? After you. Most folks can learn a thing or two about interior design.
Yes, it is in fact very, very important plot-wise that you can open that door by apologizing.
There you go, stomping off on your own. Scared easy.
I guess you can use a shroud. Yeah, the upshot at least is that this game has absolutely incredible battle music. I love Blinded by Light so much, so at least there's that, even in these fights that don't really serve any purpose.
No reason to go pick a fight, right?
I feel like the absolute worst thing about like the concept of an item that lets you skip battle is that you shouldn't want to skip battles. Like, I feel like that is one of the big things. An RPG should not make you feel good about avoiding fights because like the fight should be fun. Bootleg Prada Lightning cosplay sounds absolutely amazing. I have nothing but the utmost respect.
Take some kind of welcoming present from that first recon team they sent in?
Links are totally cool, but only if they're good. And that is in fact excellent. If I got a sneak attack on this... Oh my god. Okay, that was a bit silly.
I believe no one noticed this thing for all these years.
The thing about the Lightning Final Fantasy XIII Louis Vuitton collab is that it's incredibly good. Like, that's just actually the frustrating thing, is that it's, like, it just rules. Like, I think one of the biggest problems in this game at this point has, you know, it's introduced the stagger bar, and you sort of have the inkling that it's really important. You know that, you know, you do more damage as you build it up. But because paradigms haven't been introduced, because, like, there's no... You don't have the difference between attacks that build meter and attacks that deal damage, it hasn't really shown you, like, what's actually interesting about it. So you're just watching this bar go up over combat, and it doesn't seem to, like, make a difference on the way you're playing yet. And it will eventually. But it just feels, like, wrong that they thought this was the mechanic they need to introduce right away without explaining why it's interesting. And again, like, they're dealing with, like, a very difficult problem. They have to explain so many things, and I'm not saying I could have solved this better, just I think it's a big problem.
Robotic death machines. Fantastic. If those things are still around, might be some soldiers trapped in here too. Except they'd probably be fal'Cie by now. Huh? Not even human anymore. Just post-fal'Cie. Enemies of Cocoon. Can't show them any mercy.
There's the next one.
Welcome to House of Stairs. Please enjoy the world of stairs.
Nothing to worry about. How about this?
Yes, we've already gone.
All right.
Moms are tough. And I will say part of the problem, like, that I think they were also worried about was if they introduced too much at once, like, if they didn't make everyone...
Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way.
If they didn't make it so that everyone could just, you know, attack their way through everything at this point in the game.
Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way.
It would potentially be difficult in a way that would make you think you were doing something wrong as opposed to just not all the mechanics are in yet. So, like, I definitely acknowledge that that's a difficult problem.
Calling himself a hero?
He's coming our way.
What should I do?
Tell him what you need to.
But nothing I say will change what happened.
We could just run away.
I think the most important thing about Snow's writing is that he understands that it's really important that, like, boys should just be hollering. Ideally for justice. Like, it's not that Snow's, like, a really good fiancé, but it is that he's, like, a really good Labrador Retriever.
We can't fight things like that.
No daydreaming now.
I don't know, it really is just a lot of fights before it gets to the meat of it. I think they had a rule that, like, they wanted there to be fights every so often, like, in, like, probably measured in minutes. And they follow that rule throughout the game, including in this bit. And it just feels slightly wrong here.
Can't we take it a little slower?
Okay, I know this is a hot take, but I think Snow's facial hair is actually really cute. Unfortunately, it, like, kinda does it for me.
What are they?
See, LaCie, you failed. This is what happens when LaCie don't complete the focus the fal'Cie gave him.
I also agree that it is fine.
How did you get in here? You gotta leave. Okay, listen. Find some place to hide and keep quiet. Once I find Sarah, we'll all leave together. You'll be home in time for dinner.
You...
Wait! Who's Sarah?
My wife. Future wife, that is. She's a fal'Cie.
No.
She's here somewhere, along with that fal'Cie. I gotta find her and set her free.
What's wrong with you? Why do you want to help fal'Cie? They're the enemy.
Huh.
How can you save fal'Cie? And not... That's insane!
Probably. But I gotta do something, right? I'll be back.
Should we wait around for him and hitch a ride?
I'd rather go to Pulse. Why is this happening to me? When they found the fal'Cie the other day, we were just visiting Bodum. But the army took us, threw us on that train. Because of that guy, Mom is...
Probably shouldn't leave them alone.
And he wants to help fal'Cie?
Hey again.
Hey. Let's go with him. You gotta talk to him, Hope. If you don't take this chance, you'll regret it forever. Okay.
Let's go.
What's gotten into you, soldier? Thought you came for a fight.
My sister.
Your sister?
She's a fal'Cie.
What? A fal'Cie?
The fal'Cie has her captive, but I'll find her.
Is she still... Hey, what was her focus? When she became a fal'Cie, what did the fal'Cie order her to do? It wasn't blow up Cocoon or anything like that, was it?
I didn't ask.
Listen to me. When a person gets cursed by a fal'Cie, they become a fal'Cie, and they get given a focus, right? How do I put this? If they don't carry it out, fal'Cie end up as one of those things. What I'm saying is, if your sister's gone that far, I mean, she might still... How can I... Oh, man. There's no way to turn a fal'Cie back into a human. Even if she completes her focus, there's no changing her fate. She'll live her life as a fal'Cie slave. Don't make her suffer.
Just say it! Any fal'Cie. Anyone who might ever become a fal'Cie should be wiped off the face of Cocoon. It's people like you that started the Purge in the first place.
Oh, that's a Seath, huh?
Yeah, I think the thing that helps a lot with, you know, Hope is that it's not entirely unreasonable that he's being angry. Like, it's... If it wasn't coming from, like, a legitimate enough place. It would be one thing. But also, like, it really is, like, the fact that he's conflicted about, like, what is even the point of saying anything. Like, it just really feels like that's the reasonable trauma response, like, under those circumstances. Like, Hope's dealing with a lot, and unfortunately, he's just gonna have to deal with a lot more. And, like, I really do appreciate the bit of Fennel trying to hug him, unfortunately, not actually helpful. I'm not sure it grouped these enemies correctly. I feel like there should have been one encounter with 5 and not, like, 3 different encounters. And yeah, it's true. It really does come down to, like, what is your opinion on anime melodrama? If you're wrong and don't like it, then, you know, maybe it doesn't come across very well. But actually, it's some good anime melodrama. Anyway, if you think what Hope is going through now is some real anime melodrama, I don't even think it, like, gets into the real, like, tough shit, like, in this game. The universe really just doesn't like Hope, is, I think, the lesson of Final Fantasy XIII as a series. I will also say one other big problem with all the fights this early in the game is that, and, like, I don't think this is actually a problem that this game, like, has later on, but early on, I feel like one of the biggest failings that an RPG can have is, like, having poorly distinguished enemies. Like, if an enemy has a different, like, 3D model to it, but it doesn't make you fight it differently in any way, I think that's kind of, like, it feels like a huge waste. And you'll have a lot of games where, like, every single enemy is the same. a lot of classic Final Fantasy, frankly, has this problem. Even my absolute favorite, Final Fantasy VIII, extremely suffers from every enemy is basically identical. And this moves away from it eventually, but I feel like it's a bad introduction. And this is possibly a controversial opinion on my behalf. I'm not sure a lot of RPG designers agree with it necessarily. But definitely I think the designers of this game feel that way. It just doesn't come through at the start. Yeah, fal'Cie, that's exactly it. You just, like, you don't have a different vocabulary at this point. So, you know, there's no way they can distinguish themselves if everything you're doing is just hit attack. But at the same time, like, I do understand, like, I feel like there are too many fights early on in the game. And I do feel like they wanted to have a certain pacing. Therefore, you have a lot of fights in the part of the game before you really have the mechanics introduced. And I think probably the better solution would just be to make this part shorter, but also then you'd lose a lot of the drama and, like, introducing the premise of the game here. I definitely would consider, like, introducing the paradigm system before the plot point where they introduce it here. Yeah, all the battle animations in this game are super good. They just, like, continue to get better as you get, like, the attacks that let you do, like, launches and, like, Lightning's later game abilities are really good. But also just, like, yeah, looking at Saz's gunplay is just... They're just really good animations, and I think that's, like... Honestly, that's really important given just how much of this game is just, like, coming up with a game plan, but then watching it be executed. Like, because of that, I should be paying attention to battle.
Stop now.
But yeah, exactly. If you just had less battles, I think it would come across as, like, the game having, like, just, like, a 1-hour cutscene at the start, which I think would be much worse. I think that would just encourage people to clock out. Whereas, like, encouraging the player to, you know, have input, press buttons, means you're more engaged. Even if, like, it's not, like, the ideal. Shit,
I can't stop now.
I am fucking up on a very basic fight. Just gonna pay attention and not talk for a moment. Yeah, speaking of Tales, I've been playing Tales of Vesperia on the Switch, which is like the first Tales game I've ever played, and I do not understand how that combat works at all. Or maybe I do, and it's just like... But it doesn't feel very thoughtful. I definitely feel like I'm just pressing attack a lot.
Time to go. We have to leave before the army. What?
That's a Pulse brand. That girl's a LaCie.
I already told you that.
Pulse LaCie are the enemies of Cocoon.
So they should die?
Listen, if she fails her focus, you know how that'll end.
And killing her is a mercy?
You came.
Sarah!
Sarah.
Is that my hero?
Let's get you out of here.
Hands off. I'm taking her home.
Sis.
I'm not your sister. You couldn't protect her. It's your fault she...
You can save us.
Sarah?
You can save us. Protect us all. Save Cocoon.
Save Cocoon? Sarah? That was your focus?
Anything. I'll do anything. Leave it to me. You'll see. I'll protect Cocoon. I'll save everyone.
Somehow. I'll make things right.
You just relax.
Thank you.
Sarah!
Sarah! Sarah!
Why is she turning to crystal?
LaCie who fulfill their focus are transformed into crystal and gain eternal life.
Just like the story said.
Sarah. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams? She's not sleeping! Sarah's... She's...
She's alive.
No.
The legend. Remember the legend. LaCie who fulfilled their focus turned to crystal and gained eternal life. It's the same with Sarah. Eternal life. She's not dead. Sarah's my bride-to-be. I promise to be hers forever. I don't care how many years I have to wait.
It's over! Open your eyes and face reality!
Sarah, does becoming a LaCie really mean losing everything?
Wait.
What now?
The army.
The target is almost in place. Surface team, what is your status?
Good to go. Resistance is under control. The assault proceeds as planned.
Leave no trace. The pulse vestige never existed.
Ladies, don't you just hate it when you alternate which of your sisters you're going to be turned into a crystal? Like, you know how that goes.
Pulse off Cocoon. Dead or alive, it's all the same.
We can't stay here. They'll kill us.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Trenchcoat, where you going?
Date with the fal'Cie. Got some things to talk about.
What? You gonna ask it to help her? Are you out of your mind, kid? That thing wants to chew us up and spit us out.
Well, what do you want me to do?
What?
Lightning?
Here we go.
Yeah, let's just run past some fights.
So this is the fal'Cie.
Sarah's a crystal now. You gave her a focus, and she did it. You got what you want. Now let her go! Please, turn her back. I'll be your LaCie instead!
Fine. You go on begging. Like this thing gives a damn what we want!
Lightning!
It's this thing's fault the purge started. And it's people who are dying. Sarah told us to save Cocoon. That means this thing needs to die. What?
Yeah, I love how weird the fal'Cie are. Just like, this really is like the ultimate game about not just like killing God, but also like entire cosmologies that are just completely alien to you.
Come on now. You really think you can kill a fal'Cie?
I'm doing this for Sarah.
I'm in. As long as you don't mind an amateur. I got these things. Might as well use it.
Thanks.
Yeah, Lightning's not a true dum-dum, but it is like a true hero, a truly good hero is just a little bit stupid. Like, it's just really important. That was really like my biggest breakthrough in getting the car, was realizing that like the missing secret ingredient was that Grace just needs to just be a little bit stupid, because like that's what makes a true hero. Like, the thing is that, like, killing God is both the smartest and dumbest thing you can do. So you really need that, you know, duology in there. And I do think it's noteworthy that, like, a little bit smart, but also, like, a little bit stupid is very distinct from smart as hell, but also dumb as shit. I think those are, like, two different archetypes that are both very important.
Where are we?
What's going on?
Yeah, just some real good design going on here. God, and the audio too.
When I couldn't see a future, and I was afraid. When the future was clear, and it hurt to see. I'd just close my eyes, and lose myself in happier days.
Like, I don't think necessarily, like, all the visuals in this game are incredible, but man, when it goes all out, it really goes all out. And it's just willing to be huge and wild. So, I think this is probably a good stopping off point for now. I am now going to switch over to, I will continue more Final Fantasy XIII next Thursday, but for now I'm going to switch over to showing the opening of Get in the Car, Loser. So please bear with me as I switch things over. Sorry, I'll just be a couple minutes. Hey, Miguel. Just gonna fire off a tweet letting everyone know that I'm starting.
Okay, and this needs to be switched also, right? The edit stream info, if you changed it?
No, you should be able to change it to get in the car. I think it's in the database.
Yeah. You need to go through the overly complicated process to get an image in there.
Oh, is that a thing?
We're also not live with Vanquish.
We're extremely not live with Vanquish. Okay, I fired off a tweet.
I'm adding the game development tag to it since it is
Yes.
game in development.
Hold that in so I don't see it. So I've shown this game at a couple shows, or at least like the work in progress at a couple shows now, so hopefully that part will be stable. It might crash. There's probably going to be some very weird bugs. Who knows? This is extremely a work in development. I don't have a release date yet. It'll be out sometime early next year. And I'm going to start off by showing some of the early story stuff. Past that, I'm not going to like focus too much on story stuff because, you know, I don't want to give everything away, but I do want to, I'm going to show off the introduction, the opening tutorial, because that's what I feel like that's as good a place to start as any. So let's get into it. Yeah, let's turn that down. That's probably a bit high. How's that audio level looking? Yeah, just let me know if the audio is sounding okay now, if the music's too, because this game has very different audio levels, or rather doesn't really have the audio level controls quite in place yet.
syllables. Voice act for the people.
Miguel's suggesting that I should voice act, which I am not going to do because I can't do that to my own writing. It's not the same. I'm just too close.
We absolutely did that with Russian subway dogs. I think this is unfair.
Miguel is pointing out that there is a double standard where we did this with Russian subway dogs. That's true. It is a double standard. Yep, I've noticed my first bug that was not there 2 weeks ago. I'm certain you didn't notice that. Don't worry about it. The music for Get in the Car Loser is being composed by XIII, who has sort of a background in both classical music and jazz. She's doing really incredible stuff. Hopefully we'll get to the battle track she composed that also has vocals by Jamie Lynn. Just, again, some really amazing stuff. Yeah, being posted in chat, her Twitter handle.
Slow down.
So I'm going to be blasting through the tutorials pretty quickly because I'm kind of incapable of not. I'm too close to it. This is partially why I've been showing this demo a lot, especially like putting it in front of audiences at PAX, because I want to see what it looks like with people who don't necessarily, who haven't been in the mindset of knowing every single nuance of the game. Okay, so as you can see, we're off to a great start.
I see you're showing the final boss early.
Yep, this is a possibility that might have happened. I'm just going to take a very quick screenshot of this crash. God, I really hope this is one that I can skip. Let me just, This, okay. I'm gonna take this down for a second. I'm gonna fix this bug. Yeah, you are experiencing live game dev, so please bear with me. Miguel, can I get you to switch it to something that doesn't have any video?
Yeah, give me a second to see if we got something at the moment. We've done all of this. What? In actual, I can do.
Can you just... Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, please bear with me. Just gonna do like an incredibly janky thing where I wrap like a tri-catch around this and I'll fix it proper like later. So that should do it. Now I just need to do a new build. Why are the squids multiplying?
I know you left them.
Okay, Miguel, put me back. Wait, shit. It's too many squids.
Weirdly, someone in chat just said that.
I think it's a reasonable thing to say.
It's exactly the right number. If anything, too few.
Okay, so let's... Oh wait, I don't have a save there. Okay, let's... Just gonna have to go back to the start. Just gonna blast through this opening. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that was an extremely ad hoc fix in place. Just trying to get it stable enough to progress. Don't worry about. Yeah, keen observers might have noticed the least enticing debug command ever, which is the one that just crashes the game. I put that in there for when I was testing that fancy crash screen. Okay. Can you... Nope. Still not.
I'll turn it off again.
Yep.
Oops, no, I turned you off.
Please don't. I should have made a save file before this bit. Okay, literally just gonna wrap this in try catch. It's definitely really funny. This is like a part of the game that I've seen blasted through so many times, like just a ton. But recently I've been working on some code that interacts with the final boss fights. So like this is literally something that I've somehow managed to break within the past like 2 weeks at most.
Do you want to give it a quick test before we turn it back on, just to see?
I don't think I can test it like any quicker then. Might as well just give people to peek behind the curtain of the glamorous world of rapid fire bug fixing. This is getting a bit out of control.
Stop having bugs.
Okay, well, let's see if this is fine.
Let me get this back.
Oh yeah. Oh, right, I can't drop a save because... Maybe I can use the... No. I have killed myself. I have disabled the... Hey, Miguel, can you just try hitting the spacebar on my keyboard really quickly? I don't think this is going to work. Oh, it does work. Excellent. Okay, so I can make a debug save. Cool. Huh. Oh, I see.
How to fix it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do. This is really bothersome. I really hope this is the last instance of this. Okay, turn off my screen again.
This? Yeah.
Thanks, Miguel.
a second.
Damn it, Miguel.
Stop having bugs.
Okay, should be.
Just a squiddy stole.
All right, moment of truth. Nope. Okay, well, since this isn't working, I'm going to show some other aspect of the game. That's fine. We'll talk about tutorials next time.
Need me to... Oh.
Nope, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to relaunch it. No, please don't reload that save. It's comforting to know that the save reload system works, but not really useful at this exact moment. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into the debug mode. Yeah, I'll talk more about tutorials next time. For now, I guess let's just show off what some of this gameplay looks like. And I'm just going to blast through the text here because, again, I'll go more into some of the narrative stuff going on next week. Don't mind me, just skipping my own boring writing. So... some of the basic stuff, I guess, is that, like, every character has their attack put on a single button. So Y is Valentin, X is Sam. We're getting music, right? Okay. So yeah, here's an example of some of the other enemies, because I really want, even in the first act, enemies to be pretty well differentiated. In the first one, we had a sort of one normal enemy and then a bunch of healers. Whereas these guys are the Jerk Patrol, and they just kind of fucking suck. I've been tweaking the balance on these a lot because originally these were like the absolute hardest encounter in the entire game. I think basically everyone who's playtested this can attest to that. I think Miguel got to see some of them at some of their like worst balance. Okay. Yeah, they'll keep spawning in forever. I've had to adjust the spawn rates on those a lot I will continue to adjust that more as we go along. Yeah, they could definitely potentially, like, just go on forever. In some instances, there's also a mechanic that I added that feels... Yeah, there's a cap of 6, so there can only ever be 6 jerks on screen at once, but because the combat is so fast-paced, there's theoretically a strategy where, like, you could, like, spread out your damage across them, and they would therefore, like, it would be possible to kill them all at once. Wow, that's a new and exciting bug, huh? Yeah, also she died. I think that those two might be related. This is awesome. I'm just getting, like, all of... Bye, Paris. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, if I just, like, toss it off at the start. There's no such thing as a miss in this game. I don't think missing attacks is very interesting. In general, I tried to simplify a lot of the formulas in this. I feel like, I don't know, like, I was looking at, like, a lot of, like the battle equations for, like, the damage equations and stuff in Final Fantasy, and, like, a lot of them seem, like, very inspired by, you know, like, classic tabletop games in that they're extremely complicated, which maybe makes a lot of sense if, you know, you're, like, staring at all the numbers in, like, something where you're taking, like, where a turn takes, like, 5 minutes to do, but I think in an RPG, honestly, like, simpler and easier to keep in your head, especially something this fast-paced, I think is just, like, a lot easier. And, like, I'd rather pull in the complexity through, like, tactical decisions rather than, like, you know, just trying to keep track of basic numbers. Okay, so I'm gonna buy some junk that I'm gonna equip the party with, and that will make these fights a little more interesting. So, let's see what's a good layout. Let's give Valentine a taunt. Let's give Grace a power attack. Let's just load up Sam with a lot of damage. Oh right, I'm being told if you want to see talking to the owner. So, like, I'm not going to go too deep into how all these mechanics work because, oh right, this encounter is kind of obnoxious. Because it's the Jerk Patrol plus healers, you kind of want to prioritize the Jerk Patrol first because, you know, they're jerks and they'll summon friends. But also, if you do that, they'll just get healed. Okay, so being asked why is the cooldowns being represented on the bars with a number instead of a timer, and honestly, I wouldn't say it's like that well thought out as a decision. I just worry about, like, I think having numbers there is just a little more legible than like having another meter, because we already have a lot of meters on screen. But yeah, like the core of the mechanics here are really, it's a lot about like timer management and making sure that, you know, you always have something like ready to go. All these timers, they can be reset if you go to the next one of these boards. Again, just trying to tutorialize. I can't really explain it very well just speaking. Lord knows I've tried, hence why the game has a tutorial to begin with. But one of the things I do want to show is that one of the most important things is that you should just like have a lot of attacks out there. You should just be like hitting buttons a lot. Inspired a lot by fighting games where you can't win if you don't press buttons. And yeah, you can see we have the stagger bar as well. Very similar to 13. Ravage abilities will increase that bar. We also have the Sword of Fate ability, which also has the ability to increase an enemy stagger bar, and at that point, it's actually very similar to 13. You'll build this up, you do a normal attack, you see the number go up, and while they're staggered, you can keep hitting them with definitely not going to go into a bunch of level 4s while I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm going to upgrade some stuff just so I'm doing a little bit better. Also use healing items. I'll get into this more later, but one of the biggest differences from Final Fantasy XIII that I think is like a really big philosophical difference that we have is that in 13 you recover all your health at the end of every fight. Like you never, if you run out, you'll always come back to full health. Whereas in this, I sort of want to go back to that sort of classic RPG thing where you're like managing health and like going like, should I push my luck? Do I have enough potions? Especially since one of the things is that we have a very gacha game inspired upgrade system where you can throw away useless junk items to upgrade your abilities, and healing items are really good for that, but also they're really good for healing, and you sort of have to choose how do you want to prioritize this. So I'm not going to feed this one for now because I might want to hold on to that and heal. Definitely my goal is to push back on the urge to hoard healing items as much as possible, or just hoard items in general, because there are always better ones. How high do I plan the levels to go in this? The highest level is going to be rank 10. So everything's on a scale from 1 to 10, and 10 is like as tough as it gets. That's like the Machine Devil is level 10. I sort of want, one of the big things is that I really want this game to have small numbers, because I feel like small numbers are just easier to keep track of in your head. This is again where I vary from Final Fantasy on this. Like I feel like once you start getting like numbers in like the quadruple digits, it's just, they don't mean a lot, and it's hard to like really keep track of that. Whereas in this game, if you're doing 200 damage, that's amazing. That would be like an incredibly huge number. And one of the side effects of that is that it's a little bit harder to balance because I find that like the minimum number you have to have is like around 10, because any less than that, and like if our damage started at 1, for example, that would mean that the next highest number of damage would be double that, and like you don't want to have like a really big difference. So like we peg all the damage at around 10. If you're fighting someone at an even level, you'll do 10 damage to them. If you're a little bit higher, you'll do, I believe, 15. And by keeping it like small numbers like that, I sort of hope that they still feel like significant, but you can actually keep track of it. Whereas, like, I could not tell you what any of the numbers in Final Fantasy XIII are, ever. It's just, like, I know when I'm doing well. I can keep track of, say, the stagger meter, because the stagger meter is always a number between, like, around 80% to 999%, and that's really easy. And I'm definitely not like 100% committed to that, because as you'll see, like, you know, as the stagger bar increases, these damage numbers go up, and you definitely don't need to be able to like keep this completely in your head, but I do think you should have sort of an idea of you're doing increasingly more damage based on the stagger meter. Okay. Okay, we're rebooting the webcam due to some weird issue that Miguel can't actually explain to me. Because I feel like the one thing that you really miss in a game where you have constantly regenerating health is that right now I'm in a state of like a lot of tension. I'm really on the verge, and I'm thinking like, I really could get back to, I really want to go heal. But, also, I could do one more. I'd get more money. That might be worth it. I don't know. I'm just gonna like, do I want to tempt fate? And I feel like having that tension there is, hopefully it comes up with something interesting. Unfortunately, I decided to tempt fate, and now I have to deal with a fucking jerk patrol. Hopefully I can clear through these guys pretty quickly. But yeah, Puffin Up in chat is saying incredibly correctly, it's really hard to balance when you don't have a full heal at the start of each battle. It means that you have to make fights relatively easy, because it's not the single fight that matters, it's the long term. And just the way you balance the numbers, it can be much more dramatic when you have a full heal at the start. Which is like partially why it was so frustrating that like we had like one really difficult encounter that like you could be encountering it with 100% health, with 50% health, with 10% health, and it would make a really big difference. If you like have a really difficult problem with one fight that shouldn't be too hard, you know, that happens. That's really normal. That's something that like I would expect to happen. But it has a disproportionate effect if you know, you're not like, if you're doing worse, it makes a really big difference. So, like, and there's not a lot you can do to balance around there. Like, it really is just a question of, do you want the interesting choice to be on the micro macro scale? And I've decided that in this particular case, I would prefer to have the tension of that being on the micro scale. When I showed this to Miguel, we definitely talked a lot about this, and he didn't agree. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually, like, how people feel about it when they have it in their own hands. Because it really is just a very big philosophical difference. Okay, so I have upgraded everyone's abilities so that they are now at rank 2, and that means that I can gacha for rank 2 abilities. And that's how you get more powerful. There's no leveling up. Characters don't actually have levels or stats. It's just all equipment. Mithundare in chat asks, are all rest stops the same? More or less. We do have some slight differences. There's we have a thing called the Treasure Bureau that isn't in yet, but like, if a rest stop has that, it means you can like take on special challenges. But by and large, rest stops are generally the same. Okay, so what am I gonna upgrade my shit to? Let's give Grace a rank 3 attack because that will be a lot of damage. Let's do I have any other? No, I don't. I have an ability that'll give Balancing a taunt 3, but I don't necessarily want that. I feel like I'm pretty good with their taunt 2 right now. Let's replace that with 3. And as your stuff levels up, it'll take more stuff to actually upgrade it. Some very weird frame rate issues. Drake in chat asks if taunt is just aggro or if it has like a defense buff or debuff. Taunt is primarily it adds aggro, but it also has the effect of it causes you to defend at the level that the ability is at. So if it's like a really high level taunt ability, it will increase your defense. In addition, there are going to be different taunt abilities. Basically, anything that isn't an attack in Valentin's hand turns into a taunt ability. So like the later game ones will have, for example, there is a taunt attack, which doesn't increase the which doesn't increase your defense, but it does do damage. We have a burst taunt, which like will temporarily make you invulnerable, but after that puts you in a weak state where you take a lot of damage. Oh, someone is asking, what does the right button bumper under Grace's health bar mean? It just means, I'm not going to go too much into this, but you see at the top of the screen there's boards and I'm like switching between them. What it means is that you can go through them and like change which one's active. And once you hit the third board, then you unlock your Sword of Fate attack. And after that, it resets to the top again. I'll talk about this a little more once in Final Fantasy XIII we get to the paradigm system, because this is my way of reinventing it. It's a little bit different, but has a very similar mechanical effect. And one thing I want to call attention to next time I show Final Fantasy XIII is the way they show the stagger impact is I tried doing that with like, you know, just like that bright flash and like the frame rate stagger, and it didn't work in 2D at all. Like it looks really great in like those super dynamic 3D battles. But like here I just could not like, I could not find a way to make it look anything but just like understated, but kind of I don't know, like I just couldn't get the drama to it. Oh, why did I go into this encounter? So one other thing is that like most enemies in this game have an ability of their own. For example, the Jerk Patrol's ability is summoning friends. The healer's ability is healing, obviously. But taunting means that like they won't use their ability, they'll instead just always attack, which is useful for the Jerk Patrol, but also means you're taking a lot of damage from them because it's sort of balanced around. Yeah, see, like they didn't call for help until the taunt timer ran out. But also I am healing a lot in this fight, precisely because Valentine is taking way more damage than it's like balanced around. Which is like sort of one of the ways I want you to be like thinking about like different encounters. And all these early game ones are fairly simple. We go really well with the late game ones. Hopefully they're not too weird. I don't know, they might be. They do a lot of stuff with like managing stagger meter and like changing stagger meter. Yeah, hopefully it's not too much, we'll see. But I definitely wanted to err on the side of too interesting rather than too boring. And for this, ultimately what I went for with the stagger effect was I was really inspired by the opening animation to the most recent SSS Gridman, which has like that really cool shattered glass thing. I was inspired partially because Final Fantasy XIII, when they enter staggered, they have like, it's like a shattered glass sound effect, even though it's like a bright flash, and I feel really happy about how it looks. It took a lot of tweaking. It's mostly implemented in, it's partially hand-drawn, partially implemented in a shader to do the like effect where it actually makes like the screen move behind it. If you look very carefully, you'll see like in the fragments of the glass, everything is offset. Because despite like the fact that what was I gonna say? Despite the fact that like it's very inspired by 13, and like has a lot of mechanics taken directly from that, the pacing is definitely fairly different. Oh god, I am getting shit wrecked. Another one of the big ideas in this, and I don't know if this works or not. I think it does. I really strongly believe in this, but I don't know if it's... you'll notice that like my health is only ever going down. Sam's healing only lasts during a fight, so it's like temporary. Partially to like really emphasize that feeling of attrition. part of this is like I want to experiment with this because I've got I want to play with that idea more, like maybe in another game. I've got some ideas about like just like some thematic stuff you can do with the idea of a world where you can't heal, because, you know, I feel like that's like, I feel like that lends like a bit more weight to things. So yeah, that's one of my big experiments here. What else can I do? I can upgrade these. Yeah, we also have a system where, I said I don't like codex entries, that's true, but what I really love is, the weapon stories in, like the Drakengard and Nier games. I feel like those are, really fun. So, all our items in this have a series of those, and you unlock them by using the item in combat and also fully upgrading them, and I've been having a lot of fun writing them. It's just been, I think, a lot more interesting than, you know, like a codex would be. I'm not really concerned about, like, what is, you know, what's the world building going on here. I'm more interested in, like, what are the themes of this story, what's, like, thematically interesting, what feels fun in this universe. And, like, they've been fun to write. Keen asks, is this designed to be played with a controller? You technically can play with a keyboard. I've been doing that while testing. It's kind of awful that way. I think that's just... There are just certain types of designs that are, like... this is really built around, like, having all those face buttons. Go buy some more stuff so I can fully upgrade. But yeah, it's designed around having face buttons in combat. I don't know a way to like have this combat feel that way on like a keyboard. Partially you have it like, it really corresponds to like the layout on screen. So, like, personally, when I'm using the keyboard, I map it to ASZX for the face buttons, but unfortunately, like, you also need the shoulder button, and I think 4 face buttons and like shoulder buttons is just like hard to keep track of in your head on keyboard. So I don't like playing it that way. I've gotten good at it, but I don't like it. So basically, if you're playing on PC, I would highly recommend having a controller. Upgrading the ship. We'll eventually have an animation on this. Right now, it's very... Malaman Chat asks, what systems do I plan to have at launch? Right now, just PC, but if there's something you'd like to see it on, I would love to hear it. Please let me know, I'll keep it in mind. It does not use both sticks. It's just, it just uses either an analog stick or a D-pad for movement and enemy selection. You absolutely could play it on a SNES controller. That would be a perfectly, that would work pretty well, actually. You're not going to see any spoilers. I'm blasting through the early section. I'm not going to show like any later game stuff, and if I do, it's not going to ever be like any of the story stuff there. I'm really frustrated because right now I'm working on the final boss, and like I just can't post that. I really wanna tweet some of this stuff. It looks really good. I'm really proud of it, but like never. It'll just never be posted. Kind of a bummer. On the vocals is Jamie Lynn, who I have been a fan of for like years, and I've like kind of dreamed of being able to work with her, so having her on this track has been really great. So Jamie's just on vocals. The actual tracks are composed by XIII. I'm sure someone can share Krista's Twitter handle in the chat. It's oh poor pup. Yeah, thanks. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I will next week I'm gonna show more of I think the bit where Final Fantasy XIII gets interesting, and hopefully I'll have this tutorial fixed so I can show you how my game starts. Thank you so much for joining. This was a really nerve-wracking experience entirely on my end just because I'm not used to this, but I really appreciate everyone here. It's been really helpful having you here. It feels great, and I'm a lot less nervous now, so thank you.
Tell folks that we're streaming Vanquish on Sunday.
Yes, and also on Sunday, we will be, the regular Sunday stream will be continuing. We'll be streaming more Vanquish. That'll be me, Miguel, and Andy, with Parrish helping on the audio that we've been having so much fun with. So yeah, please join us on Sunday, and then next Thursday.
All our games are on sale right now.
Yes, and all our games are on sale right now on Steam, itch.io, whatever.
Yeah, there's links at the bottom of the page.
There's links at the bottom of the page. Anyway, thank you so much.